Hello, welcome to Impact Africa, our online TV program where I get to have conversations with diverse people and organizations who are impacting lives positively. My name is Kemi Akeode Adebayo, aka Mama K. In today's program, we continue to celebrate South Africa's Women's Month 2022, Part 5. This is pre-recorded conversation I had with two creative, jovial, respective, fun, young women. Yes, I'm talking about none other than Miss Janine Fortuin, who is the founder director for Delft Arts Outreach, which is based in Delft, Cape Town, and my dear daughter and everything else. Yes, she's like an old woman, this one, Miss Ife Alaba. She's a singer, songwriter, based in Canada and South Africa as well. Enjoy. For you, what are three things? I know there's probably more that you value, in life. Although I think from what you shared earlier on there, I can already sense, one or two already. For you, what are the three things, that makes a lot of sense for you, that you value, that are your values?
That I value? Well, now, I see love. I think love is a big thing for me. In love, there are so many things contained in that I can not only pull three out, but I probably pull thousands out of there. But whatever grows from love, I think would be kindness, unity, compassion, and all those things I hold dear now. And I try to cultivate it in my own art first, and to then see that cultivated in the children that I work with. Because that really is the answer for me. Yeah.
Interesting. So tell us about Delft Arts Outreach. What are you doing exactly? And what are the ages of the young people you work with? What activities do you do? Yeah, if you just share with us that. So, and when did you start it?
Okay, it started in 2018 as an art program.
Okay.
Because I discovered that people were asking me questions. Why are the children going to school? Why are the children rude? Why are the children? And then I discovered, what the real issue is here? The children don't value themselves. They don't have a sense of value. And if you don't have a sense of value, anything goes.
Yeah.
You don't go to school because you don't value yourself. You don't have respect for other people because you don't value yourself. So everything comes from that place of not valuing yourself, not feeling loved and understood and valued as a human. And I asked myself, how does a person get there?
Yeah.
And I discovered that it's self-knowledge, it's the knowledge of self. And how do you get there? So that is how we started as an art program, giving them that space to explore, to grow through art, and even to heal through art. I obviously received training in that as well before I took it out into the streets.
Okay.
And then we started it as an art program, a holiday art program back in 2018. And it grew from that holiday art program into what's now Delft Arts Outreach. I worked in areas such as Blokkie Store, bringing art therapy there, bringing art therapy within my community, even up in people's garages if I had to. Now I'm running an art therapy class at the school, a little more formalized, because we have a structure now around us. That's not temporary. And we also do community gardens, food gardening.
Okay.
We also help people grow their own home gardens as well. Because the children, let me tell you something, the children actually started the first community garden.
Wow.
With their own hands.
Wow.
And I have pictures of
And how was that for them? Because a lot of children sometimes can't make that connection between the food they're eating and where it comes from.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I was one of those people. Until very recently. But it's like an awakening. So what happened is, in the art program, they would draw little pictures of flowers. And one day we were just drawing like this. I don't know how it really started, but they were painting a garden the Monday. On the Wednesday, they were in the park with shovels and pickets, and they were creating that garden. So they are now able to take from the art project, take things from the pages and then create it. They can see that thing implemented. And for me, standing back and saying, wow, they're actually innovating. Because they've come to a place. I've been working with them for a couple of years with some of them, and they've been using this art as that tool that I hoped that they would. And now they can see it happening in real life. They take it from the page into real life. They're implementing. And that is how I just grow in faith with this thing, seeing that this is the solution for these kids. And they can do it if they get that
support and the
they get the necessary
direction.
support and direction. So some people might look like, oh, that's just a cute little community garden, but it's a major victory for these
for
kids.
them, yeah. Before the break, I know you shared with us as well, you know, in terms of Delft Arts Outreach, when and how you started it and so on. But something that stood out for me, you know, was when you were sharing your values about love, kindness, unity, and you had a life-changing experience. Can you share just in summary what that was about?
I'm going to try because it's quite a long story. But like I told you, I was very much focused on my career back in 2015. And then I had to leave the job I was working with very abruptly. I was working in women's rights at that time. And I had to leave that job very abruptly. And I was thinking about what my next step was going to be. I was a breadwinner at the time. So I was really thinking about what my next step was going to be. I had the support of my mother, in this new direction that I was going to go into, which I didn't know what it was yet. And I just had this experience. I was in Claremont. I also do photography. So I was going to do some photography with another colleague, and I was on my way to her house. And it was my first time visiting her house, and I got lost. And I met this young man on the way, you know, looked like a car guard. He had this green overcoat, and he said he would direct me. And usually you have all your alerts on as a woman, you know, walking with a strange man. But that day, it was strangely enough, I didn't have any of those alerts going up. Long story short, this man was actually a gang member. It was a 26 gang member, and his plan was not to take me to meet this lady at all. And I found that out in a very horrible way. But he ended up apologizing, crying, and apologizing to me. And then he started talking about God in a way that I'd never heard before. And that really shook me. He led me out of that dark and dangerous situation where he was leading me into in the first place. And it was weird because he was repentant. He was actually crying for the deed that he was about to do. And I thought, how is this possible? And he started telling me about God. And I said, I need to know this God who has the power to change somebody's mind like that. And when he had all the opportunity to do whatever he wanted to do. And I went home and I told my sister about my experience, and I had a long conversation with the guy before we parted. Came home and my sister explained to me that I'd actually had an encounter with God, and I never left that encounter the same. So from that day, I
totally changed.
I was a changed person.
And now, obviously, you're a woman of faith,
yes,
which is why you probably do what you're doing, sowing into the young people's life and just being there, you know, for them. And I believe a lot of people don't know God or know Jesus. So hopefully, what you've shared there, very briefly, which I know there's more,
there's so much more to that story.
So I just wanted us to just hear a little bit of it. So for you, since running Delft Arts Outreach, what are some of the challenges you've had to encounter, and how have you handled them? Maybe just share one.
Oh, many challenges
I'm sure.
I've had to face. Firstly, I thought that you needed a lot of money to make an impact. And I found out that no, in actual fact, you don't need a lot of money to make an impact in the lives of people. You just need a willingness to share, and you need a love for sharing that, whatever you have to share. In the beginning, a lot of people didn't quite understand what I was trying to do because the concept of art and art therapy is very new to a community like mine specifically. I'm not going to talk about other communities, but specifically in my community, that has never been done before. When I started the program, I obviously did my research before then, and I found out that this thing doesn't exist. And if there is something like this, then it's people from outside coming and bringing some art materials every once in a while, but there's nothing like it in Delft at the moment. So it was, especially in my community, not understood. And it took years, and I think we're still working together as a community, but it took years for people to trust, and also for myself to trust, and to develop the program. Even now, it's relationship building. If you want to help people in the way that I'm trying to, it's about relationship building. It's not coming into the community and then, okay, see you next Tuesday. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. It's really it's a relationship building thing. The children I work with, I know them all personally. They live around me. They know me. They see my life. So yes, building a relationship was a challenge, but also a blessing now that we have established that. And we're building together. We keep building together.
So what are you mostly proud of in terms of the work that you've done so far?
When I see the children growing, when I see them actually growing from where they were, when I see them I see that they are starting to get consistency in their actions and in the way they speak, their deeds, things like that. That makes me very proud, and that is a great sense of reward that I really can't put into words, really.
I'm sure. What other social issues, for you, are you particularly passionate about? Even if you're not involved in it. And apart from the issues, I like focusing on solutions.
Me too.
So what do you think, whether the solutions are feasible or not, what do you think are the solutions for them? Whether be it in Delft, whether be it in Kalicha, whether be it other parts of Africa?
Yes, so Mama K, I do see a lot of issues. If I asked anybody for a long list of issues, they'd be able to do that. But solutions that people tend to, I'm a more solution-based, focused person as well. What I do see is, like I said to you earlier, the children don't have a sense of value, and that for me is where everything is sprouting from. And so the art program, like I said, is all obviously doing the internal work, which takes time. Now, not everybody wants to take time when it comes to youth development. I think we've moved into a situation where we come quick fixes. We want to do quick youth programs and get it out of the way and then hope for the best. I think that is not the way to go. I think the way to go would be to do intensive work on these kids, and that might take time, and that is internal with them, walking a path with them, building a relationship with them. I think that is key. If you want to hear any issues that I'm particularly concerned about, that would obviously be our young men.
Okay.
Our young men are very close to my heart. And I do the youth intervention programs, but I'd really like to see more young men involved in the programs, like our drill, our cadet program that we are currently running, which teaches consistency, discipline, and focus. I would like to see more young men getting involved there, because they really are key to our society. And I said to the girls the other day, I actually got very overly passionate about it. And I said to the girls, it's time that we actually are more encouraging to the young men. We started to encourage them more than breaking them down. Because I said, if a young lady wants a strong role model, she doesn't really have to look that far. Because all around us, we have strong female figures who are running the households in our communities. And the young girls don't really have to look far for a good, solid role model. But when it comes to our young men,
they're fine.
Yes, exactly. And how can we then blame them for, if they don't have any direction or somebody leading them, how can we blame them for going off the rails, going into things like gangsterism and things like that? So for me, it would be drawing in more of the young men, and for the men who are good leaders and become more visible. And I think, all of us should be in the business of uplifting these young men, of uplifting our youth in whichever way we can.
So do you think, just based on what you've said there, I've got two young men.
Yeah.
And I know lately I've started saying, yes, like you said, that, we're forgetting, our boy child, and we've always focused on girl child, the women, and so on. So do you think part of the problem as well is we've more or less, the society have focused more on the girls and the women rather than the men, and I know you're saying, we need to bring them in. How do we do that, especially in Africa, where our men are not supposed to show emotions? I mean, they're not supposed to cry, they're not supposed to, some of those things. How do we really practically do that? And you're right, there's a lot of male figures, absent male figures, and, role models, that a men are not seen enough of. So how do we do more? Basically what you're saying.
I think we start on a personal level.
Okay.
Like I said to the girls, if you don't have anything positive to say to that boy, don't say anything at all.
Right.
And then you wait until he does one thing that's positive, that you can see there's some positive trait in him, and you make sure that he knows. then you open your mouth and you speak to him about that. So he would want to reaffirm that positive behavior again. You see, so sometimes it seems to me like the only time we really pay attention to them is when they're acting out.
Exactly.
And so I think one of the most practical ways we can do it would be on a personal level, to draw out the positive in that child, in that boy child. And to rather not say anything, like I said to the girls, if you have only criticism, that would be one personal way that each and every one of us can get involved. And then also, like I said before, for men who are on the right path, who are positive, to step out, to make themselves visible. We need that visibility, because we see all the role models luring the children in the opposite direction. That's when they end up following the big gang bosses, because they are visible and they are loud in what they are doing. But these men, not to be so timid, the ones who are on the right path, who are good family men, not to be so timid, to step out and show, okay, I'm here, be visible.
What does volunteering mean to you, and why? How did you get involved at such a very young age?
Yeah, with getting involved, honestly, it's just a thing that I've always done. It's just, I always make a joke, is like I got the volunteering bone and my brother got like the money bone. So, so like, it's just a thing. Like I can't pinpoint one moment where I don't know if it's from like my mom just signing me up to do things and then I just have to like deal with it and I might as well enjoy it if I'm gonna do it, or there's a specific moment. But even when I was like 11, I joined Scouts. And so to get like certain badges, you have to volunteer and you have to do things. And then I also, at church, I was volunteering to like teach. I was a kid, but I was teaching other kids and like doing crafts and stuff. So a lot of my time, like my Thursdays would be spent like Scouts, my Fridays would be spent volunteering for church and when they had holiday clubs and things. And then my mom and I we did a lot of like volunteering things. And I think for me and her, it was a bonding thing for us to do, you know, apart from just helping other people, you know. And I think volunteering, there's also a lot of innovation to do with it, which I really enjoy, you know. I enjoy that aspect of there's a problem and I need to solve it, you know. And I think it's just not, I think it could start off as an extrinsic motivation, but it becomes intrinsic because at the end of the day, you form a bond with whatever you're doing or whoever you're helping, you know, and the people that you meet along the way, you would never meet them in like certain situations. They're like a lot of things that I've done and that people that I've met is not because of, you know, like a job that I've had or whatever. It's actually because I volunteered to do something, you know. And I think the trajectory that my life has taken, I think even when I like put on my resume and stuff, people are like, oh, whoa, you've done this. I think when I met you in macro, apparently it's macro, but when I met you in macro, I was also starting kind of my own NGO at that time that I wanted to explore. So it was really cool because you're like a guru. So I was like, oh, I could learn a lot from from this person. And so I feel like that's what really drew me to just wanting to join. And I think also I'm really into consistency. University will slap consistency out of you, but I was into consistency.
So now, what has happened to your NGO now?
Right now we're just chilling. Like COVID really just like blew the sails out of all my wins. So
Yeah. And what was the NGO about? Share some of what your work was about.
So basically, it was called the Echo Initiative. It was basically taking away the mess that poverty is not just about physical, but there's also mental poverty involved. So using the surroundings around you. So when I think I was like, I don't remember how old I was. I think I was like 16. I just decided to do like a genie Christmas, and so I took a bunch of jeans. I asked people to donate jeans, made them into bags, and we asked people to donate money and things to put in those bags. And then we went back home to Nigeria, carried all those bags back home to Nigeria, and we chose a school. And we just bought like Santa Claus and Father Christmas, and we decorated a room, and we provided food, a DJ, and we did a craft as well. So that craft was always made out of things around them that they could just pick up from the floor or whatever, and make it into something else, just to like make sure that they know that just because you're in that surrounding doesn't mean that something good can't come out of it, you know. So it was really cool. We did that for I think 4 years. It was it was bigger every year. It was great. The first year was quite funny because it was my mom and I with a sewing machine, and like you just saw like 200 bags, like not sleeping. And then the second year, third year, we decided that this is also an employment opportunity for people. Because the one thing about Nigeria is like there'll be like 10 tailors on the one street, and then that one tailor will be popping, but like no other person is kind of popping. So we were just like, we decided to give it to like tailors that don't necessarily have work during that December period, instead of giving it to like the tailors that already have a lot of work. And so we then ended up taking like scraps from their other jobs, and they would add it to the bags as well. So that was really cool.
Wow. Your style, your style of singing, what motivates you? And you do write your own song, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And what motivates you?
Well, I think because, as I said previously, I was training opera. So I'm really big on showing off vocals. So I don't know, I just lean towards that. I've never actually had to sit down and be like, what is my style? It's just like, I like what I like, and I'm just going to do it. So, but like now I'm trying to like, I always harmonize all the time. So I'm trying to like not harmonize as much, all the time. So I think it's my opera background that really led me to like do the type of music I do. And then also like Laura Mbula and like Andrea Bocelli and Tiwa Savage are like, they're all really big influences of mine. So I also try and like take from their styles and like put it in my music. But I'm still starting. I just started out, so I'm still learning and I'm still growing. And so yeah.
I know you're very humble, obviously, with that, the fact that you're learning and growing, but thank you for flying the flag, for Nigeria and South Africa out there in Canada, because I've been watching you, some of what you're doing, you present, you produce, you're just, there everywhere, which is good in a very, very good way. So what I want to ask you next is, I know you're still very young. Remind me, how old are you again now?
I'm 22.
I know, 22. I know young people sometimes don't like sharing their age. But I'm sure even, though you're 22 and started, volunteering at 11 and got into music probably even earlier, what has been some of the life lessons, that you will share with a young Ife from Lagos or a young Sipo from Delft in South Africa, that you say, okay, this is what you need to do if you want to get into the media or entertainment industry?
I think finding people is the first step, because honestly, I was one of those people who's like, I'm a singer and that's it. I didn't even want to write my own music for a while. Like, I just wanted to do covers. Having your circle is really important, and I learned that as a young age, because my mom at a young age was my circle, right? So my mom was the person who would push me to do things, and then as a scout I would have those people around me who had the same goals, so that would push me as well, and just those different communities. So I think once you have that circle, because I don't like putting myself out there at all. So once you have that circle, even when you don't believe in yourself, they believe in you. because like that whole phrase of like no one's gonna believe in you more than you believe in yourself is, I think it's utter nonsense, because at the end of the day you're human, and there are days where you're just not feeling 100%, and in those days where you're not feeling 100%, you need people who believe you can be 110% to push you to that 100%, you know. And also just writing down your goals. I was really big when I was young. I was really big on like goals. I still kind of am. But so like, and sharing those goals with people. So like my family and I at the beginning of every year would sit down and be like, okay, so what is it that we want to achieve, and how would we achieve it? And if you can't do it, find people who can do it. Find I'm a singer, I can't make beats. I'm finding people who can do that and learning tips from them, at least building relationships with them in order to do it. And putting yourself out there, you know, like it's really hard. But even if you just start small, like posting on YouTube and, you know, like posting on Instagram and posting on TikTok, you know, I'm not a TikToker, but, you know, Ari will tell you, my brother will tell you, it's like the new it. And so, yeah, really important.
Wow. Thank you for those, pointers in terms of life lessons, and they're really, really key and very, very important. What I want to now ask as my final kind of question, and I definitely have to be back because I feel I'm brushed with this particular one. So we have to be back, and I hope you will have the time and make the time for us to do that. As a young person, and I know we all are aware of most of the social issues, we have in this world, be it Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Ethiopia, even in Canada, as well. What issues, social issues speak to you personally? And what would you say will be the solutions, to those issues, even whether they're realistic or not?
Yeah. Mental health is a really big one. I wasn't really big on it when I was younger because I just didn't really know what it was. But now that I do, and now that I experienced it, I feel like mental health is actually one of the biggest drivers of like, not only inequity, but like just the jobs you get and things, and getting into jobs and things like that because of the lack of support system. And I think especially in like Nigeria and sometimes in South Africa, it's like, because it's not a big deal, people just feel alone. And loneliness will drive people into doing a lot of things that can be very, very much so avoided. I think for that, it's just like having safe spaces for people to talk about it. Because if you tell a Nigerian mom that you're depressed, they'll just be like, go to church and keep it moving. But it's like those statements like that put a stigma on people, and make it seem like they're not Christian, or they haven't tried, doing things. So I think like having safe spaces where people can just talk, where people can interact, where people can say, I'm going through anxiety, I'm going through depression. I'm really vocal on like, I would never, if anyone asks me what are my mental health issues, I'm really vocal on saying I struggle with depression, and that's okay. And I feel like I struggled more when I was silent about it, and that really ended up hurting me more than helping me. So yeah, that's one really, really big thing that I'm really passionate about.
Let's go. Little girl, you're perfect. Little girl, you're worthy. Come on, don't be shy. Come on, don't dim your light. Baby girl, you're wonder. Strike the heat and drink the thunder. Come on, run the race. The world is yours to take. Your smile shines brighter than the morning sun. Morning sun. Morning sun. I promise you your story has just begun. Just be. Are you guys ready? Just begun. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough. I'm gonna touch you, yeah, touch you, baby, touch you, yeah. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough. I'm gonna touch, yeah, touch it, baby, touch, yeah. Yeah, my touch, yeah, touch it, baby, touch, yeah. Yeah, my touch, yeah, touch it, baby, touch, yeah. Sweet Nubian queen, a goddess in your own right, sun-kissed with the ebony skin. I see the future in your eyes. Whoa, take the melanin gold. Whoa, make sure everyone knows that you're perfect, you're worth it. Shine for the world to see. Your smile shines brighter than the morning sun. Touch it, baby, touch it, yeah. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough. I'm gonna touch it, yeah. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Come on, Jacka Joe, come on, oh Jacka Joe, I'm gonna touch it, yeah. Touch it, baby, touch it, yeah. Come on, Jacka Joe, come on, oh Jacka Joe. Touch it, yeah, touch it, baby, touch it, yeah. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough. Oh my touch it, yeah, touch it, baby, touch it, yeah. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough. Oh my touch it, yeah, touch it, baby, touch it, yeah.
These young people, they're just so full of wisdom, and I just have so much love and respect for these two lovely, young, amazing women who are doing so much in the community. I especially loved, how Janine answered, what she values in life. I value love as well. I'm one of those people, and some of the challenges, she said she had faced, starting up arts outreach, which is doing so much in the community of Delft. The fact that people didn't understand what she was trying to do, and it took a while for people to even trust her. But I believe she's making a lot of waves now in the community. And as well, when I asked about, what social issues, means a lot for her. I know a lot of us were focusing on the girl child and so on. For her, as a young man, what are we doing for the boy child? So thank you, Janine, for that amazing time, learning from you and you sharing your story as well, even though this was a snippet of it. And Ife, wow, she has a powerful voice, and I just have a lot of respect for her. The fact that she, shared with us how she got into volunteering, which was through her mom who was volunteering, and the fact that she now enjoys, volunteering. She's a big volunteer for us at Bold Moves, even though, yes, she's away just now in Canada, but she helps us, has helped us in various forms, previously. And the fact that, how did she get into singing? Yeah, she started singing opera, at a very young age, and that has helped her in a line of career now, and those who influence her, including people like Tiwa Savage, and I believe other people that has had an influence, and she sounds like a lot of other people, but still very unique in her singing. And I loved how she shared at the end, what social issues, meant a lot for her, because sometimes we forget this one, being lonely, which can lead into a lot of things. So loneliness, it's not the best. So if you're experiencing loneliness, especially pre-COVID and now COVID, or post-COVID, whichever one, I never know, and monkeypox and everything else that we're having to deal with in this world, economic recession, please reach out. There are a lot of people out there who would, listen out to you. Thank you to this wonderful 2 young women who are doing amazing things in South Africa and Canada and beyond, as well. We continue to celebrate all our women, South Africans, non-South Africans, for this month of August in South Africa. Till next time, stay safe, stay blessed, love you all. Thank you.